Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome today in our Windows to the World second series with the topic Personal and Business Development, a Practitioner's View. We have today with us Mr. Nawaz Mahmood, who is an expert in the hospitality sector. He has been HR director and executive leader in many countries and in many brands. Hyatt, Hilton, Caesars, Entertainment, Carlson Group, from Australia to Middle East and Africa. And it's going to be our pleasure to discuss today and identify some major key points, such as what are the key transferable skills required within the workplace, to illustrate their use and application, particularly within a management context, explain the use and application of supportive management, how this can help to empower others and use their skills, and relate this to any appropriate theory. And finally, reflect on some case studies with own management and leadership skills using a range of models out there. So, Nawaz, thank you for being with us. You may want to share some personal experience in connection to these personal skills, management skills, and extra specific communication skills that we all have to face in personal and business life, such as self-awareness, managing personal stress, and overall the capacity to understand and have this emotional and social intelligence.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the brief introduction with the, and an opportunity to speak to the students, directly and also through the web series as well. To answer your question, from the brief introduction, basically, I believe that in hospitality, which we all know, or in the business world, communication is key to success. Mm-hmm. And when you work with international companies, either you are in Australia or you're in Middle East or in States, communication carries a lot of presence of your personality. Mm-hmm. That is a key. And that has been my learning. If I reflect, my upbringing, where I was and where I have been today, it has a lot to do with my self-awareness of always keep on learning. So there are so many management theories which we all know, which helps you and guide you. Mm-hmm. But picking up a right mentor and understanding a society and skill set always helps you. And again, there's an old saying, do as what the Romans do. So if I was in Australia, I need to really adapt to the adaptability and time and task management and the lifestyle, what was in Australia. When I was working in Asia, I need to really look after that perspective, the norms of the society, the culture plays such an important role. But again, how the communication takes place in a business environment. Same when I was in Middle East, it applies the same applicable, the norms of doing business in Middle East, when it comes to your self-awareness, where a society has two dimensions from male to female, like in Australia, you can shake a hand with a female, but in Middle East, you can't do that, and that's why you need to be respectful of common culture. I think wherever the Muslim society is, you need to understand that as well. And again, it is a lot to do with your adaptability at all given times. So coming back to the same thing, I believe when we grow or when we go into our current studies or going into future into work field, self-awareness plays such an important role of how to carry yourself in each phase. That actually links into your emotional intelligence, your social intelligence. Currently, I believe now, if someone needs to be successful in a business environment, they need to really manage it properly when it comes to their own personal and social life as well, and their professional life. So it comes in 3 dimensions when you look at it. So social media nowadays plays such an important role. And I believe the young graduates need to really understand to differentiate between your personal Facebook to Instagram to TikTok or what they're trying to do. Because I understand this is a trend, but again, you don't know, because now once it is out there in public, you become a public property. So you are you are prone to be questioned or to be perceived how it is. Perception is reality. We all know that as well. So that's where your emotional and social intelligence needs to be, kept in a professional manner itself. But in olden days, we had to groom ourselves properly. We need to, stand up in meetings or the way we interact. But nowadays, I think it's a 24-hour job because your private life becomes public itself. If you are, if you become rich and famous, or if you become famous and others.
Our digital footprints.
Yes, and that is the key. And I think that comes with the critical point of when we talk about career development is you're managing your own personal stress. That is the key itself. If I have to reflect, in my career development, how I need to manage my personal stress because I had to give family time, I had my own me time, we call it, and then what is work requirement. Yes, we are all passionate about our industry. We are passionate about working long hours or making a difference. But a person needs to really balance it out, what is important at what time. Of course, when at young, you have the energy and the drive of learning and making it happen if you have really picked up a good mentor or a leader you're working with. But same reverse, if you see the other side of the mirror, if you have a mentor or a leader who is more challenging, or you don't have a right communication with that person, it becomes very stressful. So the working environment is the key, how to really understand. And that where it comes to the major part of, when we talk about our managing our own personal stress, is all about managing yourself. Communication plays such an important role, your choice of words, how you do it. Same goes in your motivation, what motivates you day in, day out, when you are at work or in your personal life. I think it's also a lot to do with how you manage conflict. It can be conflict, a personal simple conflict which can erupt into something bigger. But I think how to address it, that is the key, and choice of words itself. And again, when you work with the team, or how you work in the whole empowerment, because that has been my success, because the leaders who I have worked with is the matter of trust and integrity. That has really helped me a long way. Moving into understanding, to manage itself, because once you have a team or the camaraderie, and I believe in hospitality, that is given itself, the respect of camaraderie. So we all support each other. We also understand, because we know what they're going through in their personal life or their professional life, because it requires long hours of dedication, all these things. So that empowerment part plays such an important role if someone says, and that is there. And moving on further, if I have to look into building up effective team from there itself, I think it's all about having a clear strategy. You set up the career goals, you work on time and task management. Again, every individual is different, but as a leader, you need to make sure you bring in all together, and that is the key. Because from your team, you need to make sure that all your team members complement each other, because all have different skill set and they have come together to work on a particular project, or they work for a particular department or for an organization. So we need to support from that perspective, and that's where the career development itself comes, because we learn from each other. We pick up good words, good vibes, and at times we pick up bad vibes as well. So it's up to a person how they want to build it up from there. So, but and that is not only this thing, that you need to be on time. I firmly believe, what is your personal presence wherever you are, and being present and being seen in a larger group itself. So a person has to really balance it out. That is okay. Again, when you go from, a negotiation starts and communication from day point one. When you go for an interview, when you meet someone in a meeting room, it's how how you connect with the person. And that's where, if you are a good negotiator or connecting with the people will trust you. People will seek for advice. So that is there. And if you go further in terms of your, negotiation starts with your own presence. If your personality plays such an important role, then whatever you say is taken seriously. Otherwise, they say, this person just talks. So that's where it comes to. And I think overall, a person, in my opinion, when they are going from student life to career development and all this, they need to really plan out their own phase. What are the key skills that they have now, what against their personality, because they are two different things. Key skill set, what is required, and their personality, because we can read all the we can read good things, but you need to really reflect it. Are you matching those skill set? Are you matching those competencies?
Like being an agent, a third eye from outside, an agent to promote that person that is you and give emphasis and outline the positive outcomes, but also to know what are those things that can be also damaging if you leave them uncontrolled. And with regards to stress management, you probably will agree with me that great parts of our life we dedicate it both in personal and business life, and usually that's together. We dedicate to reflect on the past or on the future, and this creates in the present a lot of stress. What happens with the stress, I don't want to focus further in its relation to mental and physical health, but of course when we use stress a little and we know how to have it on the leash, we can do the things that we need to do in a very effective way. But if this stress is much more than needed to push us to do those things, then we have exactly the opposite effect. It's like pretty much when you drink one glass of nice wine, which is okay and can also make you feel better. And if you drink the whole bottle, then we have exactly the opposite outcomes. So I would like you to share with me some personal case studies on people who are perceived as successful people, like people were going to them to ask for advice because they were also managing to stay calm in stressful situations with conflicts. I would like you to share with me how these people could demonstrate such an effective management skills and to motivate others, because of course when you're stressful you don't want your manager to be also out of control. You need someone to stand for and to feel that everything is under control. Trust me, I control the situation.
Good, thank you. It's a very good question, and I think it requires more of elaboration. But coming back to the first part, I think it's a lot to do with balanced approach to managing a person. And the personality plays such an important role, which is your own background and how you build up your career. You spoke about regret in personal or professional life itself. I think my take on regret is, the power of regret, they are universal, and also they're healthy for being a human, because we are humans as well. We have feelings, we have emotions. If we don't have feelings and emotions, then I think we are zombies or we are aliens. So that goes in hand. So that is there itself. When coming to your third question, what you were saying with regards to how to manage that situation where we have seen going through that same stress, I think that is where it comes to your leadership style, where you have seen itself. I remember I was going through a personal phase of my life in 2013 and 14, or basically 2013 and 14, where I was opening Conrad Dubai, but I had a great leadership team around me who supported me through thick and thin, but that's where my leader at that time, general manager was, who is also still now is a dear friend, shared his own experience, with me, stating that, we all go through, this happens, but, the life goes on. And that's where I think what I have seen in my leaders is humility. You know, this is one of the key skills that a person needs to always carry with them is humility. And you know, I always say to people, you know, humility is a strange thing. The moment you think you've got it, you have lost it as well. Because the idea behind humility is a person becomes your lifestyle. You know, your day in, day out thinking. And as far as you're content as a leader to manage, things will happen. Coming to other question where you say is how to manage those teams around you when you go through the thing. I think that's where your personality, years of being in that skill set prepares you accordingly. And you have seen that, you know, one of the key skills that what we want to see in leaders is how they manage themselves, which includes the emotional intelligence and the presence when they're managing a team. Because I have seen in my personal career, I've seen people failing when their own lifestyle or their attitude or the when it comes to stressful environment, you know, they fail, you know, miserably. Because it can be for many factors. Maybe it is how they did the project planning, or they didn't have control over things, or what they did. But I think, you know, calm and composure plays such an important role of putting it all together. So I think that is one of the key skill set is of course you need to have all the skill set to running a project or managing a team, but your own personality plays such an important role where it makes such a difference, you know. And again, managing people is an art, how you manage it. And again, when you know, it's basically, and you know, one of the best examples when I was going through, I can share my personal experience. When I was going through my personal, life dilemma, you know, my leader said a very good thing to me. You know, if it's your road and you are alone, others may walk on it, but you are still walking alone there. So you need to decide what it is good for you. You know it exactly, because we can't be in your shoes to make it happen. But we can only guide you, we can only make things...
Empower you, maybe, but nothing more than that.
To make things happen. Maybe you're a bit slow at this stage, but of course, a bigger picture is to do the project. But it's you who can come up. So that's why your personal intuition, your own mindset plays such an important role of managing it, you know. Again, it's a lot to do with planning and executing it to the right thing. So that is a key how you need to make all those things together.
And in relation to psychology and the emotional and social intelligence that we mentioned earlier, of course, it's very, very relevant to mention that, for example, when a person has a chaos in its own house, in its own room, how can you expect that in other aspects of life would be everything organized and well prepared and act like a role model for others, even though maybe or maybe not in a managerial position, that's irrelevant, but I mean managing their own time, their own life, and so that they can manage to have appropriate business relations as well with their colleagues, especially now that we have all these cross-cultural teams, and a person is not like in the old days that used to work somewhere until the pension time came, but it's adaptability, the key, and flexibility, adaptability to interact and make it work it with all these different people, different hierarchies, different backgrounds. So I think that when we discuss about time management, stress management, emotional, social intelligence, unit management, and all of that, it has to do, first of all, with our own personal management. And it's also like we say in management world, the elevator pitch, that everybody, we have only a few seconds to make a first impression, right? How this impression will be effective and positive, especially in influential positions, when a person cannot control his or her own emotions and personal space. So I'm sure you have many experiences like this.
There have been so many experiences, but I think you've said exactly what when we say about working with cross cultures and with number of people itself, it's all about balancing approach to managing. And again, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, such important. I think the most important thing as a leader is, I spoke about being humility is one thing. And again, I think nowadays it's very important, breathe, you need to relax as well. If you're always on a go, things does not go that way. As a body it requires, I always use this quote to my team and colleagues around, if you don't pick a day to relax, your body will pick it for you, because we are not machines. So that is the key, is how we need to really
life-work balance.
Absolutely. And again, sometimes we need to forgive ourselves, things go wrong at times, stop being angry
to
and
reinvent yourself as well. Absolutely. And put priorities in a more clear way with more clear objectives.
Yeah, because it's all about having that, it's and again, as a leader, it's alone up there. I always say, you have very limited friends who you can be with, who you can trust with. And again, I've seen, same here as positive. I've always remained positive in my life, but we do get negative thoughts. But I just make sure that I don't let those negative thoughts to grow and destroy me. Remember, we always have evil and good and bad with us. So I always make sure, and that's where self-awareness, emotional intelligence comes in all together, how we need to manage it all together. Having that all makes us a different leader, and that's where your own personality plays such an important role, and again, your humility, being generous and being kind and carrying on with your team, carrying it, at times people have said, your team is like your family. I said, no, we cannot be family, because it's different. Families, you live with them, you sleep with them as well. The whole thing of working team is that you make sure you come here for a purpose, you fulfill that, you come together, be brave enough, be imaginative, be generous, be kind, and to make a difference what you want to do. And then it's wonderful to work in that harmony. And it all leads up to I'll come back to the same thing of communication is a key, task orientation is a key, balanced approach to managing is a key, knowing your skill set and the teams around you is the key, and that's where the leader comes in. At times there are difficult decisions to be made. That's where your emotional intelligence has such an important role, to manage it. You may be working with someone for last 5 or 10 years, then you have to tell him, sorry, I need to terminate you for business reasons. At the end of the day, business is business. So that's where you need to put that brave face to make it happen. And again, as a person, I believe, once you, especially for the students who are doing this course, they need to also understand, communication, as you said, is that impact what you made, that elevation pitch at the right time, at the right point. And I always say my take on this that is very simple. And that's what I always say to my people around. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Make your way.
That's very good to wrap up our conversation, Nawaz. Thank you very much for sharing your insights, and see you soon. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the opportunity. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
practitioner's view. We have today with us Mr. Nawaz Mahmood, who is an expert in the hospitality sector. He has been HR director and executive leader in many countries and in many brands, Hyatt, Hilton, Caesars, Entertainment, Carlson Group, from Australia to Middle East and Africa. And it's going to be our pleasure to discuss today and identify some major key points, such as what are the key transferable skills required within the workplace, to illustrate their use and application, particularly within a management context, explain the use and application of supportive management, how this can help to empower others and use their skills, and relate this to any appropriate theory. And finally, reflect on some case studies with own management and leadership skills using a range of models out there. So, Nawaz, thank you for being with us. You may want to share some personal experience in connection to these personal skills, management skills, and extra specific communication skills that we all have to face in personal and business life, such as self-awareness, managing personal stress, and overall the capacity to understand and have this emotional and social intelligence.